Hello and welcome to the Coming Conflict today on July 31st, 2024. My name is Tom, of course, and I hope you can hear that background music. Today, we are going to be talking about big tech, CBDCs, and the war of all against all. Before I get started, please, if you could, follow me on Twitter. My handle is at Coming Conflict. At Coming Conflict. The link is down in the description. I'm trying to gain my Twitter followers up. It's fun to talk shit on there occasionally. It seems like Twitter is nothing but the dregs of human society, but it's still fun to argue with people from time to time. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So, all right. For those who haven't noticed, there has been a huge influx of tech bros moving into the MAGA camp, and it all started with Elon Musk. And I don't like it. I don't like it because these people are satanic devils. Let me turn my mic up a little bit here. These people are satanic devils. And it reminded me of something. Do you guys remember that dude who set himself on fire outside of the Trump trial? His name was Max Azzarello, and I'm going to read to you his manifesto. This is something that got completely hidden by the media. It wasn't talked about. It got completely shelved. They tried to cover this up. Anybody else who did something this crazy and wrote a manifesto would be all over the news. So let me go ahead and read this. My name is Max Azzarello, and I'm an investigative researcher who has set himself on fire outside of the Trump trial in Manhattan. This extreme act of protest is to draw attention to an urgent and important discovery. We are victims of a totalitarian con, and our own government, along with many of their allies, is about to hit us with an apocalyptic fascist world coup. These claims sound fantastical conspiracy theory, but they are not. They are proof of conspiracy. If you investigate this mountain of research, you will prove them too. If you learn a great deal about Ponzi schemes, you will discover that our life is a lie. If you follow this story in the links below, you will discover the rotten truth of the post-truth America. You will learn the scariest and stupidest story in world history, and you will realize that we are all in a desperate state of emergency that requires your action. To my friends and family, witnesses, and first responders, I deeply apologize for inflicting this pain upon you, but I assure you it is a drop in the bucket compared to what our government intends to inflict. Because these words are true, this is an act of revolution. Last March, a billionaire named Peter Thiel started a bank run on Silicon Valley Bank. I knew enough about Thiel that I found this incredibly suspicious. My hunch was that this was intentional, though I couldn't fathom why. I began investigating online and quickly found cryptocurrency's fingerprints all over it. The bank run occurred just days after Silvergate Bank, which catered almost exclusively to crypto companies, collapsed. Meanwhile, several crypto cheerleaders were all over financial media warning of a regional banking crisis, and nobody in media was addressing the clear crypto connections. I dug deep into the financials of Thiel's venture capital firm, Founders Fund, and eventually uncovered the following, all proven many times over. Cryptocurrencies are a first planetary multi-trillion-dollar Ponzi scheme. It was expressly created for this purpose by a laundry list of rich and powerful people out of Stanford/Silicon Valley and Harvard/Facebook. The March 2023 bank failures were all intentional. The banks were used to move out stolen Ponzi money. This signals that they're no longer dumping cash into the cryptocurrency Ponzi afloat and that it will soon go insolvent, as all Ponzis must. When the Ponzi scheme goes insolvent, it will take down half the stock market with it. The perpetrators use their major companies to pipe into the blockchain so they could funnel money out from the crypto exchanges. This includes Google, Tesla, Apple, PayPal, Facebook, Disney, Walmart, Target, InBev, Zoom, and countless others. It is a Ponzi scheme so large that it created global inflation, which is why the price of Bitcoin has been a remarkable leading indicator for inflation rates. Victims who bought crypto don't realize their money has already been stolen, so the money gets double counted by the victims and the criminals who stole it. As it turns out, our elites are awash in Ponzi schemes. Stanford's StartX.com investment fund and Jeffrey Epstein's program for evolutionary dynamics he ran at Harvard are both fake science Ponzi factories that these schools have invested billions in. They are filled with fraudulent companies that use smoke and mirrors to promise miraculous new technology, but always collapse while the perpetrators only get richer. Funneling trillions of dollars in stolen cash to the stock market created the largest stock market anomaly in history. The stock chart signature of a Ponzi scheme is a massive increase while they stack up cash, and then a massive fall as they funnel out the stolen cash. Now, this was let me just pause for a second. This was back last year, right after the bank failures, and we are seeing something very similar happening a second time. I mean, the stock market's hitting all-time highs. Bitcoin and other cryptos are gaining momentum again. So let me continue. This chart shape appeared in all the companies listed above. In order to explain the massive anomaly, our criminal government unleashed COVID on the world and told us that these were the stay-at-home stocks. And I do also want to point out something else that I've been saying on Twitter, is that it's just strange that during the lockdowns, they used cryptocurrency to explain away the shortage of GPUs. GPUs at the time were used to mine things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Since then, Bitcoin and Ethereum have gone from proof of work, meaning using a GPU to do mathematical equations to solve complex equations on the blockchain in order to discover coins, to proof of stake, meaning that you have to have it in order to stake it in order to make more. What also are they using GPUs for is AI. So could it be that cryptocurrency also served as a smokescreen to divert the attention away from why all the GPUs were being bought up off the market by the AI companies and not by the miners? And maybe there were other forces at play behind the scenes pumping the value of crypto to make it seem like everybody was out there mining it. Let me continue. Ponzi schemes are vicious beasts, and cryptocurrency is history's largest Ponzi by orders of magnitude, except for the US dollar, but we'll ignore that. It could be best described as an economic doomsday device intentionally made to shatter the world economy. The US government is fully involved in this totalitarian con. To illustrate its bipartisan support, I'll note that every participant of the Clinton Global Initiative has ties to cryptocurrency. While two of the biggest tech VCs who participated are Trump associates Kushner and Scaramucci. To better understand our form of government, I will point you to one of the most astonishing pieces of standalone evidence I found: Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton's 1988 DNC speech, where he nominated Mike Dukakis for president against George H.W. Bush. The speech is a vile, mean-spirited roast of Dukakis that makes no sense whatsoever. For Clinton to ruthlessly attack a member of his own party should have been tried, and he repeatedly mocked Dukakis' noble and earnest qualities. Notably, actor Rob Lowe, who was supporting Dukakis, was victim of a teen sex blackmail operation at the DNC that year. Since we know Clinton is a close associate with teen sex blackmail artist Jeffrey Epstein, we can suddenly make perfect sense of the nonsensical speech by applying this lens. Bill Clinton is a cocky mob boss who blackmailed Mike Dukakis because Dukakis thought his job was to help the public. He teases out the future public revelation that Kitty Dukakis drank rubbing alcohol and offers a strange anecdote about the crack epidemic that reveals he's an exceedingly proud drug runner. What does this revelation tell us? That our government is conning us completely, that the Bill Clinton was secretly on former CIA Director George H.W. Bush's side, and that the Democrat versus Republican division has been entirely manufactured ever since. Clinton is with Bush, Gore is with Bush, Trump is with Hillary, and so on. When they present themselves in public, they are acting as characters that are against one another, practicing kayfabe as wrestlers do. Now, I'm going to push back. I think Trump is a genuine anomaly, but it's still what this guy is saying does make some sense. As it turns out, we have a secret kleptocracy. Both parties are run by financial criminals whose only goals are to divide, deceive, and bleed us dry. They divide the public against itself and blame the other party, while everything gets worse and more expensive, and a handful of people take all the money. Since it is fully parasitic, a secret kleptocracy is an incredibly unstable form of government. Left to its own devices, it can only lead to fascism or a failed state, and I'd say we're heading headlong into that situation right now. One of the key findings of this research is that Harvard University is one of the largest organized crime fronts in history, which is how they churn out billions. It's a major hub of this sprawling criminal network. As it turns out, dozens of the writers of The Simpsons went to Harvard. So I asked myself the question, if The Simpsons served the interest of organized crime, how would it do so? Well, it offers a dysfunctional family suffering from moral decay, a community incapable of solving its problems, a worker drone who slaves away for an evil billionaire, and cathartic laughs for our poor collective circumstances. There are some notable specifics as it relates to this research, too. In Marge vs. the Monorail, the town folks are too oafish and divided to invest in the town's needs, fix Main Street, and fall for the charms of a dazzling showman with a bogus monorail Ponzi scheme. When we know that the show is closely linked to an organization that invests billions of dollars in Ponzi factories, this becomes quite damning. And I don't know about the specific. I know the episode. I don't know what exactly this guy's getting at, but it is very strange how the Simpsons seem to be predicting more and more of what's happening right now. Like right now, what we're going through. In Lisa the Iconoclast, Lisa discovers that town founder Jebediah Springfield was a secret criminal con artist and that the townsfolk's lives are a lie. Realizing this is an important discovery, she desperately tries to get the townsfolk to listen to her, but they meet her with hostility, apathy, disbelief, and partisanship, and she fails to get through to them. Ultimately, she realizes the town is so far gone that perhaps it's better for them to be lied to by con artists, and she keeps the secret to herself. And here I've been, like Lisa Simpson, desperately trying to get friends, family, and the public to believe the proof of a totalitarian con I'm trying to show them. And they turned away with hostility, apathy, disbelief, and partisanship. And so we realize the criminal truth of The Simpsons. Our elites are telling us that our eroding collective circumstances are our own fault and we can't do anything about it, while they steal the American dream from us. It is, for lack of a more elegant word, brainwashing. Lastly, we string these major discoveries together. Cryptocurrency is an economic doomsday device. Our government is a secret kleptocracy. The Simpsons exists to brainwash us. From there, the only research we need is critical thinking, and we're able to piece together the true story of our circumstances. Consider America since 1988. Institutions like healthcare and universities have become parasitic in their skyrocketing prices. News media tells us to be angry and tribalized. Daytime television warns us of moral decay. Local news tells us to fear our neighbors. The Simpsons tells us we're too oafish and divided to save the American dream. Seinfeld tells us to celebrate the assholes and be irritated by all the moral people around us. Reality TV tells us that real life is filled with hedonism and strife. Social media, owned by crypto criminals like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, is flooded with nonsense conspiracy theories and memes reminding us that we are hopeless, helpless, anxious, depressed, ironic, scared, apathetic, escapist, lonely, misguided, and jaded, telling us we can't do anything but have a laugh at our own circumstances. Liberals mock the hypocrisy of conservatives. Conservatives mock the hypocrisy of liberals, and our collective circumstances erode. The left shouts, all cops are bastards, which ensures they'll be hated by the police and the public, and flies in the face of the leftist theory. The public's distrust of the government is at an all-time high, but so is the belief that we are helpless to do anything about it. And with all this, a sharp rise in apocalyptic messaging. Climate change will kill us all. COVID will kill us all. Vaccines will kill us all. AI will kill us all. No matter the bubbles we ascribe to, we're bombarded with existential crisis with no solution. We've seen a surge in apocalyptic film, literature, and video games that tell us there is no way out of our poor circumstances but total societal breakdown. Zombies tell us that the public is our enemy. If you go to your nearest convenience store, you can buy a can of water called liquid death. This is our rotten farce. For our entire lives, we have been flooded with media designed to slowly steer us into a world where the American dream was dead, where the public was fully divided against itself, where everybody believed we were powerless to do anything about our worsening circumstances. It is all so they can organize an unprecedented apocalyptic rug pull on the entire populace as they pivot to fascism, which is perhaps best understood as kleptocracy at the barrel of a gun. When we piece it all together, we understand the truth. We are in a totalitarian doomsday cult. Why on earth would our elites do this? There are many reasons, but the simplest is because capitalism is unsustainable and they know it. Climate change and resource extraction would catch up eventually, so they never intended to sustain it. They knew all along they would be gobble up the wealth, all the wealth they could, and then yank the rug out from under us so they could pivot to a hellish fascist dystopia. Things escalated wildly in 1988 when former CIA Director George H.W. Bush got the White House, but this plan had been in action long prior. Why is Stanley Kubrick's comedy about mutually assured destruction called Doctor Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb? Because he was a cocky, secret fascist who was getting us to stop worrying and love the bomb. Why did he make A Clockwork Orange? So we'd rejoice at ultraviolence designed to desensitize us to the horrors of the world. Why were the Manson family murders crawling with cover-ups and intelligence agents? Because our government wanted to make us fear for our lives and believe that hippies are deranged psychopaths. Why did Walt Disney produce a fraudulent documentary that told us lemmings follow each other off cliffs? So we would believe it. Why did the Beatles tell us to fear the tax man, to scoff at revolution, chase nonsense conspiracy theories, and that happiness is a warm gun? So we would believe it. Why did Easy Rider tell us that the hippie movement was dead? So we would believe it. Why did Chinatown end with the defeatism in the face of a massive corruption? So we would believe it. Why did George Orwell tell us of a hellish future of totalitarian control that we are powerless to stop? So we would believe it. Why did Wall Street tell us greed is good? So we would believe it. Why did Do the Right Thing tell us we are all racially tribalized? So we would believe it. Why did Sir Simpsons creator Matt Groening make a comic strip called Life in Hell? So we would believe it. And on and on and on and on. When it comes to any popular media, if you ask yourself the question, why would secret doomsday cult kleptocrats want the public to consume this? You will find your answers. This is obviously very bad news, but the biggest lie we've been told is that we are powerless. We've got one way out of hell world, and that's for the public to realize that we've been conned completely so we can build a united movement that shatters every lie they've told us. And that is the truth. That is the absolute truth. The idea that we can continue to fight this thing on the internet in the enemy's playground, set by the enemy's parameters, we need to break that illusion. They've told us, mocks this rotten farce as loudly as it deserves, and aims at nothing short of abolishing our criminal government so we can build one that serves the public. To understand this story is to see right through the con, to become immune to this endless sea of criminal propaganda, and to feel the great joy and power that comes with freedom. If a small number of people quickly put on these truth-colored glasses, we are in for an unimaginably bright future. If not, we get an apocalypse. Major findings and a map to a sea of proof, along with all the other essays on this site. For the true history of America since the end of World War II, see here. To see the discovery unfold in real time, along with further explanations, hundreds of pieces of evidence not covered here, advice, inspiration, political theory, and the heart and soul of a man escaping history's largest doomsday cult, see my Instagram. These things have all been scrubbed. Story highlights. I apologize for leaving things so scattered, but this has been an exhausting affair. So long as you understand this true ideology, you will be able to learn the whole story. Here is a federal lawsuit I filed against dozens of perpetrators of the cryptocurrency Ponzi, not for litigation, but just to preserve the information and attach my name to it. I was terrified and hadn't slept in days, and it shows, but it served its purpose of keeping myself alive long enough to keep learning and telling this story. I no longer have my original research files from Crypto Rabbit Hole. If you want to see them, you'll have to get my laptop back from the government. Ask them how they got it. It's a very fun story. I hope you know how powerful you are. I wish you a hell of a lot more than luck. Max Azzarello. Now, why did I read that? These are the writings of a deranged lunatic who later went on to light himself on fire in front of the Trump trial. But he's not wrong. And if this were any other message, if this man did this in support of Palestine or Ukraine, they would have plastered it all over the fucking planet. But they didn't. They hid it. And that's because, as we speak right now, people like Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, Elon Musk, they're all infiltrating the right. Peter Thiel, who, legend has it, has a blood boy, a blood boy, like in Mad Max, that he cycles the blood out of him into himself. Mark Andreessen, who says AI is going to save the world. Elon Musk, the one that's every other day challenging world leaders and other tech billionaires to fistfights that never seem to happen, wants to put a chip in your head, wants to create a global network of satellites so everybody can be hyper connected and always online and always stuck in this simulation that we are communicating through right now. Max Azzarello was a psycho. He lit himself on fire, and I do not agree with everything he said in that manifesto, but a lot of it was damn true. We as humans need to understand that the idea that we can fight back using the internet is probably the most misguided thought ever to have been thought. Most misguided thought ever to have been thought by a human. The internet is the enemy's sandbox. They set the parameters. They set the rules of the engagement. They win just by us playing. We need to break this illusion. And that's gonna move us into the whole CBDC. Because I want to ask you a question. I had already planned to do this episode with this topic before this clip came out. This is Tucker Carlson saying CIA invented the Bitcoin. And I want to ask you a question. Honestly, leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. Do you think it's more likely that the government created Bitcoin or some Santa Claus / Jesus Christ-like figure named Satoshi Nakamoto did it anonymously with no personal gain in order to help humanity? Think about that. Now, while everybody is so distracted with the BRICS and the USD and who's going to dethrone King Dollar, because mark my words, the dollar will be dethroned, but it's not going to be by BRICS. Because in the background, because the idea of currency, you need to have trust. If you don't trust that the piece of paper you're holding in your hand is worth working for, or it can buy you what you need, it's useless. It's valueless. But all the while up front, they're talking about gold-backed currencies. They're talking about BRICS. They're talking about the Chinese yuan. They're talking about the USD. Who's going to be the next big boy on the block? There is the background noise of crypto and Bitcoin. Now we have Trump coming out saying that he's going to make a Bitcoin reserve. A Bitcoin reserve. A Bitcoin reserve. You mean like backing for a currency possibly? And I don't think this is Trump's idea, because you've had Thiel, Andreessen, Musk, and a whole litany of other tech bros infiltrate the Trump MAGA movement at this point. Trump did specifically say there would be no CBDC, but there is no difference between a CBDC and Bitcoin. Everybody wants to get hyper obsessed with the CBDC as being centralized and being a private blockchain. What does it matter whether it's a private blockchain or a public blockchain? The function is still the same. The government can track and database everything that you do. And I guarantee you they can make it so you cannot buy and sell, and they can do that right now with Bitcoin, with Ethereum. They have that power right now, especially being that Ethereum went from proof of work to proof of stake. This all just happened in perfect timing to let up what they called demand for GPUs. They all just managed to switch over to proof of stake, so there's no GPU mining going on anymore, at least a lot less than what there was. Just in time for AI companies to come in and start buying the GPUs. It doesn't make sense. There's too many coincidences lately. Things just don't make sense. And I have a feeling this election is the Bitcoin election, and it's not the Bitcoin election in the way that you crypto bros are thinking of. I think we're getting played. Bitcoin is a Trojan horse. Crypto as a whole, I don't know, but Bitcoin, I think, is a Trojan horse. First in, best dressed. It's the one with the most name recognition. It's the one with the highest trust, societal trust. We have Russia just today saying that they're going to start using Bitcoin to bypass sanctions. It's the only logical next step as a currency, a world reserve currency would be Bitcoin. And Bitcoin as a world reserve currency will fulfill all of the bad parts that everybody is scared about with the CBDC. And if you think they can't get into the Bitcoin network somehow and start managing and editing the ledger, you are sorely mistaken. You are sorely mistaken. Because there's stories in the past how the FBI has seized Bitcoin. How do they do that? They offer no explanation. They just say that it's been seized. How do they do that? With all that going on and all that being said, we also have the increased threat of World War III because now Israel hit a leader in Lebanon. He killed them. There's some other rumors. Okay, wait. Lebanon bombed Israel, killed a bunch of kids. It was disgusting. Israel retaliates, hits Lebanon. Then they killed somebody else in Iran. Now Iran and Turkey are saying they're going to respond militarily. This thing is spiraling out of control. But remember something. When the Trump assassination attempt happened, and even before that, they said that Iran, they, meaning the FBI and the intelligence agencies, right? They said that Iran was planning a hit on Donald Trump. Then the assassination attempt happens. They tried to say that Iran was behind it. They backed off that a little bit. Now, then Netanyahu comes to Congress, right? And now Israel strikes inside of Iran, kills an Iranian IRGC leader. So it seems like the war party, the deep state, is going to get the same result regardless. Either they would have killed Trump and it would have brought us to war with Iran. That didn't work. So now Israel killed an Iranian and it's going to bring us to war with Iran. It seems like this was a predetermined outcome. And no matter what, they have contingency plans for this. And I'm not saying they're almighty. I'm not saying they're gods. I'm just saying that they seem to have planned this out pretty well. They thought that Trump would be dead. They were going to blame it on Iran. He ended up surviving. So then Netanyahu comes, they kill an IRGC guy, and boom, we get the same result that they wanted regardless. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. And I just heard James O'Keefe say that he expects more black swans to come, and I'm going to have to agree. We are in such a state of flux and chaos right now. I can't even begin to put a finger on what is coming next. But what I will say is that something is coming. We're in an untenable situation, politically, societally, monetarily, financially. The dam's about to burst. And it's like, I think everybody's expecting the collapse to be one event, but I think it's more like CrowdStrike disables half the world's tech services. And then, United Airlines can't get their planes up in the sky. And then healthcare providers can't provide patients. And then, there's a war popping off over here, Venezuelan election stolen. I think it's all of these subsystems breaking. And then the people not willing or able to repair them. So all these subsystems start breaking, and then the bonds between them start breaking. And then it gains momentum. So as each smaller subsystem breaks, we accelerate and accelerate and accelerate until finally the whole thing collapses. So it's not an avalanche. It's just many, many snowballs rolling down the hill until eventually we are covered and there's no way out. But there is a way out. We need to break the illusion. We need to spread the word. Follow me on Twitter @ComingConflict. And remember, in the information war, knowledge is power, but awareness is victory. Have a good day, my friends. God bless. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow with Alien Addict. Follow me on Twitter. I will let you know. We might be doing a stream with Alien Addict. So have a good night, guys.